To challenges of implementing active rehabilitation in developing countries. So according to the World Bank, these countries on this map are marked with a brown and this orange-ish color. And my personal experiences are coming from two regions. So the countries located in South Africa and Southeast Asia. To be more specific, I had the chance to be a part of these projects in 10 developing countries. And in the middle of the column, you may see the date of the first camp, active rehab camp, I was involved. But each time I was hired by different organizations, mainly NGOs, sometimes universities, sometimes hospital. But actually, in this room, we had three my previous bosses. We have Eric Weirds from Handicap International, Stephen Nolden from Liability Northern Ireland, and Lucy Robinson from Vitality. So we worked together on this project. Sometimes it was a single isolated event for myself, but in other occasions I had the chance to run several camps. Like for example, in Vietnam we did together 8 camps. The first one was in Ho Chi Minh City, then we did in Da Nang, and finally in Hanoi. So what is the process of implementation of this idea in developing countries? So the first step is usually to find a local partner organization we can rely on. So usually it's either association or some kind of foundation, hospital or university. It works differently in different places, different countries. Then obviously the finance must be secured and human resources, and it was done always through these organizations responsible for the whole idea, usually NGOs. Then we had to find suitable facilities and accommodation. You can imagine it's not an easy bit to find wheelchair accessible accommodation for several wheelchair users, plus instructors in developing countries, and also prepare all the necessary equipment to run the camp. Then we had to identify active rehab camp participants. We usually are looking for people living in different parts of the country. So once the camp was finished, they could spread out this idea in different parts of their own country. Then we usually organize some short training for the professionals. So occupational therapies, physiotherapies, and non-disabled assistants. And we all together organized the camp. And finally, we did the camp itself. And usually translation from English into local language was necessary, apart from countries like Zimbabwe, Uganda, because they are English-speaking countries. When you talk about adaptation, because you already know everything about the general idea of active rehabilitation, but working in developing countries, we have to be flexible. Sometimes we have to adapt different issues. So, for example, the philosophy of active rehab training. So, for example, in Europe, we usually do not accept family members to attend the camp because they do provide too much help to the participants. But in developing countries, we allow this just because you have to imagine that some people live very far away in rural areas. So once they get back to their own small village, there might be someone with necessary knowledge to help them to survive in this tough environment. So that's why we allow family members to attend the camp. Type of practical sessions. Very often organized swimming was simply impossible, so we had to exchange with some other sports typical for the country. A number of practical sessions. As you heard, in Europe it's quite tough camp. We have 3 or 4 trains per day, but when it's climate is very hot, usually two practical sessions for an hour and a half. Each one is enough in such climate. Sometimes the content of theory session according to the religion. Let's say when we talk about sexuality, especially in Muslim countries, let's say we have to separate the session for the man and woman. or daily schedule according to the local habits, like time for meals, time for prayer, or time for transportation, because we didn't have always a chance to share the same roof. So in some cases, participants were coming just for the day of training and they had to come back to their own houses. And sometimes teaching curriculum, the wheelchair skills, as you know, it's a very important part of the whole active rehab idea, but people are using different type of wheelchairs, so some of the skills were not, not available for different type of the chairs. So this is how the typical active rehab training looks like. We usually did the training for 5 days. As you see, the wheelchair skills was almost every day or something very similar, and the other activities are the same as we do in other countries, and also the theory sessions are very similar to our camps in Europe. So this picture you may see some of the wheelchairs which are used by people in Asian or African countries. So as you see, they are very different from the wheelchairs we are having. So that's why we had to slightly adjust the teaching curriculum. And also different type of transportations people are using, actually to come to our camps. We have right now examples from Vietnam and from Thailand. And just a few more challenges to add with some pictures. So this is the first camp I did in Malaysia, and during that time, that camp we had to translate every theoretical session, practical session into 3 languages, as you see, in Malay, Chinese, Hindu, because we had participants from different parts of the world. They didn't speak one language, the same language. In Thailand, let's say, we didn't have, there was lack of accessible accommodation for all the participants, so they were coming just for the day of training. In Vietnam, the camp organized in Da Nang. In this, during this camp, there was again lack of under the roof training sites, so we exposed with the sun or the rain, which was quite tough. In Nepal, we had at that time very basic training equipment and facilities. Nowadays, there is a wonderful new rehab center about 20 kilometers from the Kathmandu, but at that time it was in Kathmandu, in the old place. In India, again, the training facilities was very nice, but there was lack of accessible accommodation for all of participants. Or in Zimbabwe, we did the training, and it was huge economical crisis, lack of running water and shortage of electricity almost every day. So you can imagine such a difficult environment for the training. In Uganda, at that time, was a very unstable political situation due to, the fight with the rebels, with the Force Resistance Army, but we still did the camp. Or in Bangladesh, again, there was lack of under the roof training site. So some conclusions. So, due to limited professional treatment and rehab of people with developing countries, active rehab seems to be very important option for independent living for SCI. And please do believe that most of participants of these camps improve their knowledge and practical fields as the first step towards become experienced active rehab trainers. Thank you very much.
So this last part, we're going to talk about the challenges, opportunities, and future directions. So we'll have Tomasz will begin, talk about healthcare system, and maybe that active rehabilitation is not something
let him tell you.
Okay, I will tell it afterwards if you don't tell it.
Okay, so me again, sorry for this, but I will try to make it quickly. So just a few words about the present integration of active rehabilitation into the healthcare system in different countries. So I will just like explain what I mean by full, partial, or non-integration. So for example, in Poland, we are nowadays in a very comfortable situation. The Active Rehabilitation Foundation is a huge NGO organization. It is officially recognized by the government and is almost a part of the healthcare system. So nowadays we organize more than 20 camps per year, and since 1918 we organize more than 1,000 active rehab camps in our country. At present, every patient with spinal cord injury is referred after the hospital rehabilitation to attend the camp, and everything is covered by the governmental money. So this is, in my meaning, the full integration of active rehab into the healthcare system. Then we have countries like Greece, for example, where is it partial. It means that this national system of rehabilitation still exists, so people have a chance to be rehabilitated, and the camps are organized from time to time where the money are available, but it stands alone, so there is no connection between these two elements of rehabilitation. So if people are lucky, they will attend the camp, but not everyone, not necessary. Or we have countries like Zimbabwe, where it's simply no rehabilitation, this national within the rehab hospitals, so the active rehabilitation camp is the only opportunity for survival. So there are some questions for discussion, as you see. So we would like to talk about it. What is the optimal level of integration of active rehab in healthcare system? Why active rehab programs are not integrated in some healthcare system, and how active rehab programs can become more integrated into this system. But we'll talk about it later. Hopefully we'll have some time to do this.
Thanks. And I wanted to say is active rehabilitation is not competing with ordinary rehabilitation. I think we have to understand it's a complement. And as you heard at the first workshop with the backup, that peer support you can use both in ordinary hospital rehabilitation and also afterwards. Because when RG active rehabilitation started, the ultimate goal was to not exist. Because when we can realize that the organization we don't need it anymore, then the active rehabilitation thinking and the peer support is totally integrated in the normal rehabilitation, and it's still not. So it's still a use, and we still need it. And it doesn't matter if a low-income country or like in Norway, the richest country in the world, the use of there's still people that want to meet other people with similar disability. For me, I have my spinal cord injury 12 years ago, and I've been working as a role model in Sweden, Norway, Russia, Greece, and I see the same thing, that people need to connect. And what is active rehabilitation network, and what is the benefits of it? You have seen here some countries presenting what we are doing, and we have seen that we are more than 20 countries using this thinking, and I think we can learn a lot from a network of it. Because what did I learn as a person with spinal cord injury? I have learned a lot going to different countries, seeing different people, different disabilities in different situations, and I have learned new skills, new knowledge. And that's something I can also bring home, not to my own ordinary life, but also to other peer support, other role models. So we can use it. So, like Janne said, handing the torch, so each one teach one. So as more people get together and see how can we use the network in some way to spread, not only spread active rehabilitation, but spread how can we be more independent in ordinary life. So that was the personal. The second one, the support, peer support, but also how can the organizations be more supporting to each other? How can we learn from each other, different community organizations? So we help people that are our target group, people with spinal cord injuries. In the beginning in Sweden, it was almost only paraplegic when we started. And our backup is really good to help people with high injuries. In Sweden, we are not so good in our organization. So we can learn a lot from all the countries. And that's not only the knowledge, it's also, I think we need a standard that we have some key elements that is the same in almost all countries, but we don't have a standard and we don't have some research. What is the benefits of active rehabilitation and using role models as a key element in rehabilitation for people with spinal cord injury? And maybe you can answer that question, Anestis.
I'm afraid I will raise more questions than provide answers. My hands are sweating, so easier if I have a stationary bar. I just want to say a few words about research. My name is Anestis, and I have been in a group developing ISCoS in Greece, the Active Rehabilitation Organization in Greece. And active rehabilitation is about change. So we've been listening to different presenters talking about change. And how do we know that it works? A lot of the presenters have been telling us that we believe it works. We know it works. But I wanted to look into research and did a systematic review on the perceived effectiveness of actually not only active rehabilitation but community peer-based programs, because this is a community peer-based program. And I think we identified 4,500 records, and we went through them in a systematic way. And to our surprise, there was no publication on active rehabilitation. So this approach has been around for more than 40 years, have been spreading in more than 20 countries, habitating the lives of many people with spinal cord injury around the world. And there is no publication. How come? So that's the situation, that's the current situation. So there's plenty of anecdotal evidence. There is very limited scientific research and research evidence. And there are different levels of integration in the healthcare system, as we heard from Tomasz. And as a result, there is also limited funding. So the lack of research has some negative implications to active rehabilitation. I was very happy to hear some very good thoughts this morning from the workshop that Lucy put together. So Lucy talked about developing standards, the CAR standards, about peer support. That's great. We need standards. Also, Julie talked about an RCT, a randomized controlled trial that they performed. Excellent. That's great. That's another great example. And also, Philip talked about and described the system of how peer support can work and be implemented in the existing healthcare system. So these are great ideas. And perhaps active rehabilitation can learn from those. So some thoughts are perhaps that we would benefit from a common data set, so a common battery of outcome measures that we could perhaps use to collect some data and analyze the effectiveness of these programs. We need a standardized approach. First, we need to describe the approach. And that's what Philip did very well this morning. He described the approach. So we are actually working at the moment to describe the approach. We also need to qualitative and quantitative studies, and we need to evaluate short and long-term outcomes, particularly in relation to effectiveness. So just some food for thought. Is research evidence needed? Could it be beneficial? And if yes, what can we measure? How can we do that? Who will be involved? And when is the best time to assess outcomes? And of course, this is open to discussion. So we very much appreciate your thoughts and suggestions. And we're very interested also to hear what happens in your countries. Thank you.
Thanks. We have around 50 minutes for questions. Yeah. 10, 15.
My name is Alma from South Africa. I missed Lucy's session this morning, but I think this is all very exciting. In terms of Africa, I think last year we started the African Spinal Cord Injury Network, and I think the networking thing of these conferences is so important. And I think in Africa, I've learned at that AFSCI network meeting last year that many of the countries, the only rehab they ever had was from peer supporters. That's it. They had no other network. I was in Zimbabwe at the rehab unit for 3 days. They had no running water. And I think one can so much, with these type of networks, learn from each other. Like Klaus is doing wonderful work in Botswana and Namibia, but how can we replicate it and how can we reach the masses with the little we have? And I certainly think my colleague from Morocco, we were saying this thing is one of the things that we need to take to the next AFSCI, and taking in mind that peer support is maybe the only rehab that people ever going to get. So yeah, it was a very well run workshop. Thank you.
This is of course relevant for the low-income countries and lower mid-income countries. In higher income countries, peer support has a different role. So I think it's important to realize the different characters or characteristics of peer support and active rehabilitation in different countries. Yes, very, very good point.
Hi, I'm Kim Anderson in the back of the room here from the United States. And I'd like to just make a comment that is relevant to the U.S., which has a very different insurance-based system for healthcare. But in reality, in inpatient rehabilitation in the United States, very, very, very little time is spent on wheelchair skills and activities that is learned in these camps. So it's very relevant to the U.S. healthcare situation as well. And I would say if there's any way that you can start collecting any kind of data to publish it, it would be huge around the world. And don't make it overly complicated where it prevents you from doing it for everybody that needs it, but try to collect the key elements to get the data published to help them get more funding for it and keep it out of the hospital system so that more people can get to it for a lower cost.
That's a great point. And I have a question for you. So I didn't get your name. Can you please repeat your name?
Kim Anderson.
Kim Anderson.
Kim Anderson from the University of Miami and the Miami Project.
Yeah, so when I did the systematic review, I came across some studies from Centers for Independent Living, but I couldn't really see. There were issues with the design of the study and the focus of the studies. So I was actually surprised that Movement for Independent Living and Centers for Independent Living are so widespread in the US, but still there are issues with quality studies. How come they have not produced big studies that show the effectiveness of...
I think because the main source of rehabilitation to be funded by insurance is inpatient rehabilitation and then a very short amount of outpatient rehabilitation. And after that, you don't get any more funded rehab. And the Centers for Independent Living don't do active camps like this. So there's very small local places that will do it, and you hear about it by word of mouth, but there is no active network for it.
Thank you. Microphone coming.
I think this is an excellent idea from Kim with your experience, and I think that would be an enormous challenge to try to introduce ARG in the US. I mean, that would be a pretty heavy task. But I think that there are two things regarding the independent living. When independent living started in Berkeley, most of the independent living participants were in electric wheelchairs. And Berkeley is still one of the most accessible campuses around the world. And people in manual chairs were not addressed during the early phase. But another thing, Kim has the article about quality of life, has most citations of any other article in the world. So Kim could probably help us to get that structure together, to get the correct type of research done in order to document this. I have two questions or thoughts after listening to this very impressive presentation. My first thought was, what's the next step? And I'm thinking of like a case manager. And this is of course then not for low, maybe middle income countries, but if you're looking on countries like Norway and Sweden and Europe, I think that a lot of newly injured paralytic courts have a case manager standing side by side and working almost like a labor union for the newly injured patients vis-a-vis the system. Because what we're talking about is empowerment. Everyone is asking about the patient's opinion now, and especially now centralizing in Sweden. Forget the doctors and the old clinics. Now we're talking about the patients, listening to the patients. This is empowerment. And parallel with this empowerment movement, I think that there is a need also for this case manager to take up things like legal aspects and what type of chair do you get, and do you stick with that? It used to be that Crips should just be happy with whatever they get. You know, shut your mouth. This is the type of catheter you have. This is the type of chair. Now we can challenge the system. So maybe that will be something for the next generation. The other thing is again the interface vis-a-vis the hospitals. How early shall rekryteringsgruppen or ARG go in? And in the beginning, I thought that they should even evolve earlier. But I think that there is an idea, and I think that there is a reason for not being part of the system, because you can be more rebellion and you can be against the system. You can still keep your autonomy. But these were thoughts, and I think that the most important thing is, again, as Kim said, document. You know, get your ass in gear and do research.
So I came to the camp in Sweden about 5-6 years ago, and we brought that back to the UK, and with backup we set up a course called Skills for Independence. And one of the things that we kind of added in, because we were including high level of injuries in everyone, is asking people what they wanted and kind of really adapting the course to them. And that brought in a whole new idea of people wanted to know how the benefit system worked, and they wanted to know what sort of cars they could get into, and I don't know what it's gone. But kind of, you know, it was a much bigger thing than just how to get dressed, or, you know, it's how to live, you know, how to tell your carer, you know, what to do and how to help them get you dressed. Assistive technology, you know, for older people, even if they were paraplegic, that might be teaching them how to do online shopping. So it was much bigger than that.
Hi guys, wow, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed listening to everybody, especially those of you not speaking in your own language. It was really inspiring. Louise from Backup, just so interested in a network. I think that is a great idea. Let's do it. Don't know how that might start, but would love to be part of it. The other thing that is a real challenge for us in the UK is that the courses that we run, or the camps, are a choice. And it takes an awful lot of effort and resource to encourage people to turn up. And our dropout rate before a course can still be really high. It takes a lot of hand-holding, encouragement and support from a whole range of staff and volunteers to get a participant on the course, and we go to a lot of lengths and it can sometimes take years before a participant makes it on the first day. Does anyone else have that? If so, is there any answers or magic bullets out there that we could learn from?
I can say from a Swedish view, most of the people that come on our camps and our activities come from rehab places where they have peer support working there. And we have people from our organization going there often. So they go month to month and hear about it. So a lot of people come from rehabilitation Stockholm, in Stockholm, because they have a lot of people working there as peer support. So they talk about, okay, we're doing rehab here, but maybe you want to go to this camp as well because you will learn stuff there as well. And not only like Klaus and Lucy's talking about that, it's not only get dressed or manage the wheelchair, it's about life. So you need lectures of how to get a car from the state, or medical equipment, or bladder function, or wounds. You need lectures of that as well. And also you need to chit chat and talk and during the evenings and live together, because when I was newly injured, I had I want to take my life. But then I met people that, and I also thought that after 10 years, you're dead. You will not be able to live anymore. So it's really important to meet people, and also because maybe the first time you met someone, it's not the best opportunity to speak out and ask your questions. Maybe the question will come during the night when you're going to sleep. So I think you need both of it.
If I may add something before Marianne continues. One thing that I can see from real participants coming to the IOPS camps is they come from the spirit and the attitude. So that's what they come from. They come to change their spirit and their attitude. And they come because they love the spirit and attitude that is prevalent at the camps. So we have a very small dropout. So I think it's like 5%. And this is because they drop out if they have any severe complications. Otherwise, everybody turns up. Marianne.